Go.
Get going.
Let's go. Yeah, I know.
All right, it is 6:05. We're going to continue the Board of Selectmen meeting on May 21st. Everybody please stand and join the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. First, we need to vote on our non-publics. First non-public was 91A:3-2C. I don't see any need to seal these minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The second non-public was also under 91A:3-2C. I make a motion to seal these for 6 months.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next two are also 91A:3-2C. I'll make a motion that we seal both of those for 6 months as well.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have public comment. Please state your name.
Larry Brown. Public comment has been moved around and people don't remember the meetings from about 3 meetings ago. But what I wanted to do was talk about a topic that I'm sure is heavy on your minds, which is the old Greek philosophers, specifically sophists, who had a bad reputation for a good reason. They were the kind of philosophers who had arguments that were plausible, self-serving, and knowingly deceptive. They specialized in the destruction of fair discussion by questions that could, by their very nature, have no direct answer. Example, how can you say you're moving forward when 1/6 of the voters don't want the town to exist? Or why should we pay for the mistakes of past assessments? As to the first, 5 times as many voters wanted this town to continue, and the actions, structure, and the very election of the new board are an example of that moving forward. As to the second, absent criminal intent, malfeasance, and the explicit penalties in a contract of record, in a court action, it will cost more than the cost of the injury alleged, and the suit will have little chance of success. That's the reality. Assessing is an art, not a science. If you want more information, you can go to the DRA website, and you can look up the mathematical formulas which set equalization. The Municipal Association has an article written by Stephen Hamilton, whom I knew when I was on municipal and county government. He has been for years the person in charge of the property appraisal division of DRA, and his comments on classical statistics and small sample overrepresentation and the goal of central tendency are still very much on target for assessing today. So the comments come late, but thank you for your work.
Thank you, Larry. Any other public comments?
Yeah, Roger Libby. I was in 2 weeks ago. I haven't received anybody who wanted to know anything. I didn't know if anybody had come up with any questions they wanted answered about my salvage business.
We don't have anything right now. Thank you.
All right.
Did the board, I'm Kimberly, did the board receive our letter?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Do I have any other public comments? All right, I do not see any other public comments, so I'll close public comments. Now we move on to old business. First, under old business, we have townhouse stewardship discussion and possible appointment of members. Heather Thibodeau and John Cadwick.
Okay. Erin and I met with Mr. Catwick last week, and to try to figure out what to do about maybe forming an executive committee for the Townhouse Committee. We found that John Catwick is very fortunate. He has a large number of volunteers. But in order to streamline the process and to have an executive committee, he was going to name a certain number of people to be on the executive committee because he's so fortunate to have so many volunteers. But in order to make it so that he could have voting members and have a representation of who are on this executive committee, and then we can move forward to have people who are actually named and then be in the town report and move forward. So he is requesting that the Board of Selectmen appoint the following individuals to the executive committee of the Townhouse Committee. Again, he is very fortunate and would welcome other members to volunteer, and the Townhouse Committee is enriched by all his volunteers. He would like to have a selectman representative for a one-year appointment that's every March be appointed. He would also like to have Judy Kimball named as his finance person for 3 years, and then Polly Catwick be the at-large person for a 3-year appointment. And that would fill out his 5-year membership. So that's where we are with that.
And just to be clear, these people were under the impression they were already appointed in doing this. It's just
Right.
we're missing the paperwork.
We're
So this is
missing
a
the
house
resi-
cleaning
Yeah, housekeeping.
thing. Keeping. Thank you.
Keeping.
Not cleaning,
No,
keeping.
a housekeeping article so that we can make sure that everything is reported accurately and that it follows how we go forward from here. So I just need that, your approval in moving forward.
But before we do that, we also need to decide which select board member.
I make a motion for Aaron to be, so you can learn the history of the town.
Ryan's been here just barely longer than I have.
When do they normally meet?
I have to check that.
Can we ask Joan?
Yeah, I thought you asked John.
Yes.
John,
Yes,
when do you guys normally meet?
my name is John Galway. What's the question?
When does the Townhouse Committee normally meet?
The last time we met was probably last fall. We probably meet once a month during the summer,
Okay.
okay?
During the day or?
No, it's during the evening. We usually start at 5.
Okay.
Aaron?
You want to?
Can we negotiate a day that's good?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so
Pick me,
I'll
pick
second
me.
Andy's motion.
I make a
And she's-
motion for Aaron to be the rep and then the other two.
All right, I'll second that. Oh, before we, John, yeah?
Is it okay if I just could do a complete overview of the situation of all members for the townhouse so that everybody in the town will know what we're talking about? Because we have people sitting here tonight I know have offered to volunteer, and I'd like to give an explanation why we don't really at this time need additional members, other than the sworn-in ones we're just talking about now.
All right, how's the board?
That's fine.
Yep.
Okay. First of all, the approved stewardship plan for the historical structures owned by the town of Milton. I'm talking not just townhouse, all of them. This has been approved by the leaders of the town prior to you people being in the positions you're in. And the stewardship plan for the historical structures for the town of Milton is, unless you make a revision and change it, committee members appointed by Board of Selectmen are called executive committee. And that's what we're talking about, assigning 2 more members right now. It must include a Board of Selectmen. For executive committee is chair, project manager, treasurer, and secretary, and Board of Selectmen I had on here waiting for you people to assign something you just did. Okay? Then it goes on to what we call at-large members, appointed by executive committee, which is 4 or 5 that are the major committee running the whole project. Right now, as we sat, we have Al Banks, Loretta Banks, Bob Carrier, Bonnie Dunn, and Polly Cowan. In addition to that, we have Mike Ballou, he's not with us anymore, as we don't know, Bob Nager, Gordy Manis, Tom Gray, Doreen Gray, Larry Brown, Suzanne Brown, Gary Perkins is a representative of a contractor, Steve Porter, a contractor, and Mike Carrier, the plumber contractor. We're up in the range of, we need help with volunteer work at the Milton Townhouse. We have a number of approximately 20 people available for paint or whatever we need done. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
I'm just filling out the forms for you guys to sign.
Okay.
All right, so we had Andy made a motion. I second it. Now we just need to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we'll sign those after.
Yeah, just fill out the forms.
Next on the agenda, we have appointing a school board member to Rec Commission. This is strictly another housekeeping item. The way the bylaws are written in the RSA states, the school board makes a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen of who's going to be the school board rep, and then the Board of Selectmen actually has to do the appointment. So the school board has recommended Laura Noseworthy. I would like to make a motion that we appoint Laura Noseworthy for a one-year term to the Rec Commission.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
That position does not have to be sworn in. I did some checking on that legally. You just have to approve the appointment.
Okay.
Got recorded.
It just, you have to approve
Right,
it.
but I'm saying it has to be recorded with the town clerk.
It has to be recorded in the minutes.
Okay.
All right, next, appointment of Economic Development Committee alternates. Aaron?
I'd like to appoint to the Milton Economic Development Committee as alternates Bob Bordeaux and Sandra Woods, and they will be sworn in tomorrow night if I get the approval
Second
at the
it.
meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we need those appointment sheets too to sign before the night's over.
Yeah, 'cause I just-
How long have the alternates appointed for?
How long are we appointing like alternates for?
For 1 year.
1 year. Okay. All right, moving right along. Old fire station sale update.
There was a suggestion made about a possible family taking it back or selling it back and then selling it back and all that. That's not legal. The only option we have now left with is putting it on the warrant article. So that is a plan for a warrant article for next year.
All right, that's,
We've explored that every which way possible with our town attorney, and that's where we are. I have a list of warrant articles for next year. They're in my office on a blue piece of paper. Everybody should take a look at them when you're in my office, and we'll just keep adding to them.
all right.
It was a good idea.
Board all set with that one?
Yep.
Okay, next on the agenda, Water District Commissioner bonding permits. Stan Nato?
Stan Nato, Chairman of Commissioners of the Milton Water District. Approximately a year ago, the Board of Selectmen voted to start charging the Water District for dig permits and bonding and so forth. I'm here to ask you to reconsider that because right now we're looking at the rate, potential raise in the rates. If that is going to be put into our budget and it's not going to be reconsidered and you vote not to do it like previously, then there will be rate increases. So as the people are paying for this, I personally don't see the reason for us to pay and then charge the people for it. They all make a circle. It makes no sense to me. But I'm just asking before we assume, you know, give you people the opportunity to, in my mind, rectify it wrong.
So if the board's all right with it, I'd like to get some feedback from the Public Works Director on this, since he's a guy that's dealing with this firsthand. Sorry, so Pat to
Pat
speak.
Smith, Public Works Director. This has been a one in the circle. We have tried to work with the Water District in the past with waiving rates and fees, bonds, and so forth. But the agreement was that they had to contact Public Works Department if they were gonna do a cut within a 24-hour emergency cut, or contact me with other cuts. That did not happen. It ended up going back that we did charge. We tried to help them by asking them to just post an insurance bond with the town, which would be cheap money, just in place for the year. That's an option so that they don't have to bond every single curb cut. That's having their insurance company send a certificate of insurance to the town for the recommended amount to cover. And I think that would take care of everything. And they just continue to do the dig safe and their permit to dig. Everything should go fine.
Mr. Chairman, we are bonded. We both have the same insurance company, Primex. I spoke to Primex's attorney today. He made the remark that he's never heard this between the water district and the town before. So he suggested that we supply you with a copy of the insurance coverage, which I believe you have. We can add you as additionally insured. We did discuss that. That's no problem. There's no cost to that. So I don't see why we should have to be putting any more money into something that, where are we going? The structure, the pipes are in this town. It's not like we're a general contractor working in every county in the state. You know, if there's a problem, we'll come back and fix it. A few years ago, there was a problem with the water district in the town and a resident, not to get into too much, and we all worked it out. Mr. Smith is correct that we did have someone that wasn't following proper protocol and found for, let's say, a courtesy dig permit. That would happen. We would make sure, we have new people now, we'd make sure that, unless it's in the middle of the night or something, that we at least let the DPW know and we follow those guidelines. But as far as revenue, it's just charging the residents for something that the town shouldn't be charging for.
Over the past year, have we had any issues where the town hasn't been contacted and work's been done? That's directed to Public Works Director.
There might have been one, but there's not been a whole lot going on. There was one downtown by the sidewalk that I didn't get contacted on, and there's one that I found on Silver Street that I went and asked about, and that's how I found out about that one.
And that was on private property. We call dig safe. Dig safe marks the hot top. We're not required to get a dig permit if it's on public property. If it's in the town road or right of way, then yes, that the town has control. But if it's on the person's property, it's private. And in that occasion, one of them was that. So, I mean, you will see some marks, and not necessarily mean we're going to dig in the road. That's what dig safe does.
So open up to the board for discussion.
What kind of money are we talking for bonding? You're telling it's going to cost the tax, water me pays my water bill, how much is that going to cost?
Permit says $15 per square or cubic foot?
Square foot.
Square foot. So if you take an 8x8 hole, which isn't very big, at $15, it's $960. Just that one day.
All right, backing up to what Pat said is a general insurance. I have a problem with one, you did one on right in front of the American Legion in Milton, that the sidewalk is now this wide, and where you did the cut, it's sunk down that deep on both sides of it. So we got a path that wide right in front of the American Legion. I mean, you can, that's the only thing I think is to protect the town but I mean, if we can buy insurance, I don't know. I guess is there something that we talk to Primex to see if the towns where we both have the same insurance,
If it would be covered in such
if
instances.
it'd be covered.
I mean, we'll list you as additionally insured. That don't cost us nothing. That doesn't bother me one bit. I talked to Mike Ricker today, the Primex's attorney, trying to figure out exactly what I should be saying tonight. You know, we're right now figuring out the rates. Myself personally, I don't want to go up.
I don't want to go up.
Pat?
I don't know if you're aware, but bonds do go back to the person that posts the bond with interest.
But it still has to be in the budget. It still has to be taken out of the budget until it's returned. and who knows how many there would be. And if it's, let's say $1,000 a dig, and we have 10 digs, there's $10,000. We have 346 users. You can't expect them to absorb $10,000, even if it's for a month or 2 months. You know, it's still going to be put in the budget.
But it's been like that for the past year.
We haven't done nothing all winter to speak of. All right, so we're now getting to the point where we know we have some digging coming up. We have a major leak someplace that we have to find, and there's going to be some activity. We have a company coming in to do leak detection. They're probably going to do it at night when all things quiet down, the residents aren't pulling so much water. So there's a lot of activities going to be happening. We have to find this leak. We're losing in excess of 50,000 gallons a day. We're just hoping it's not under the lake.
Board's thoughts?
What's your thought on it? You're not on the water district, we are. I mean,
My honest thoughts on it is, I think that both parties in the past could have done a better job at times working together. I think this has been going on way too long, and it seems to get bounced back and forth all the time. My thoughts is, this was just changed recently because of instances that we had and concerns we had. I think it's good discussion, but I think for the time being right now, I think we should leave it as is. That's my personal
that they have to pay for the,
opinion, to protect the town. Because we have had cases in the past where,
Excuse me, but how is that protecting the town financially? I don't understand. We still have to do the work. We still have to back up our work. We have a bond that, you know, for liability. So how does that protect the town?
So if somebody rolls their ankle on that hole in front of the American Legion, they're going to be suing the town of Milton for the sidewalk, not the Milton Public Works, correct?
Unfortunately, if anyone rolls anchor anywhere, they're going to sue both of us. No different than Charles Street incident. But the one that you're talking about was actually done for the club.
For
We're
the who?
responsible for the, right in front of the club you're talking about, the
American Legion?
They had us come in and do that dig.
Well, you did it,
Right,
and you
as
did
a-
it to the town property. And what I'm saying is you have a sidewalk this wide where it drops off that deep where my lawnmower gets stuck every time I try to mow it. So, I mean, how come you haven't fixed that? I mean, that's,
Has anyone even notified it? I'm not saying we should have noticed it, but I'm saying, has anyone come to us and said, this is an issue?
well, it's an issue. You know you have an issue north of the pump station. There's no water. You have a brand new fire station. We can't use the water out of it. So, I mean, we got some major issues in this town with the water precinct, obviously. I mean, I say right now, I'll back Ryan, just leave it as is, and as much as I hate to pay my water bill, but
The rates will be going up with this decision, that's all I'm saying.
how much of the rate's gonna go up?
I don't know, we haven't sat down and put it on paper yet.
so
We're trying to find ways not to.
I mean, I don't want to get an argument here, but if you're saying the rates are going up and you don't know how much the rates are going to go up based off this decision, it sounds like the water district really hasn't done that research yet.
We're just right now putting out feelers to see what we don't have to address. If we knew this was not going to be an issue no more, we wouldn't address it. But now we have to address it. We have to include it into the formula.
Right.
as,
I mean,
and I'm not sure if I'm talking, so if somebody kick me if I shouldn't be saying what I'm saying, but as a member of the water district who attended the annual meeting, there was already conversation at that meeting about raising the rates anyway, regardless. So
I made that statement, and the statement was due to this is one of the major issues right here. And due to this issue, the rates would probably be going up. I made that, I let the people know.
How much?
I don't know. There's different levels of users.
so I think, I mean, we can debate this all
Right.
night long. We're not going to get anywhere, I think.
I go along with you.
Yeah.
I think that we need to stick with what was stated last year. And
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
And just before we move on, I would like to ask the board, if things change over the next year, I know I personally would be interested in hearing from the water district again. And we could reconsider. I don't know if the whole board feels that way or not, but.
I agree.
Yep, I agree.
All right. Thank you, Stan.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda are the new business. First up, treasurer discussion, including closing accounts. Heather Thibodeau and Mackenzie Campbell.
We defer to Mackenzie. Oh, 6:30,
Oh, sorry, take that back. We have a public hearing tonight. So we have to jump to that, and we will, what is that? So it is now 6:30. This is the second public hearing on the Town of Milton landlord ordinance. So I will open the public hearing. Are there any comments on the public hearing?
As the owner of an apartment building in this town, this, I didn't make the first meeting, but this is just in reference to providing the proper information as of the tenants to the town, correct?
Correct.
Which I have already done.
Yep, that's all this is. All right, I don't see that I have any other public comments, so I will close public comments on the landlord public hearing and also close the hearing.
Second it.
So we can make a motion to. So we'll make a motion to accept the Town of Milton landlord ordinance. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so now we go back to treasurer discussion.
Good evening, everyone. Mackenzie Campbell, treasurer. Want me to stand up? How you doing? Okay, so our bank accounts. We currently have a bank account with Profile. We have bank accounts with Federal Savings Bank. The previous directive was to enable these accounts to be open and left open for the time being, while the auditors kind of come in and assess what's going on. So that part has happened. We pulled the statements for March that they're looking for. TD Bank has expressed desire to go ahead and have those accounts closed. Federal Savings Bank would also like to disincur the cost of leaving the accounts open. And our financial advisor has also recommended that we close the accounts. And we're pulling the outstanding items now to make sure nothing conflicts. So if it would make sense to you, I'd like to have the power to again close those accounts and move them to TD Bank when necessary.
All right.
Make a motion to go ahead and.
We're 100% sure that the auditors are.
They're very much in favor of us doing that because we can get all the records we need. We're in good shape.
And as a business gesture, Federal Savings Bank has extended their help to us for any audit questions or concerns and are more than happy to furnish statements.
Make a motion to go ahead and close out all those accounts.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we have Milton Historical Society discussion. Bonnie Dutton.
I'm Bonnie Dutton, and I'm still president of the Historical Society, and we need some new blood. Just as a quick history of the Historical Society, we started this organization back in '77. We were incorporated in '78 with one of our legal members who happened to be Judge Newt, and he did all the paperwork and everything for us. So we're pretty sure that that stuff is pretty legal and still is good. We finally took over the little old Remick Library in Milton Mills as a museum. It's a building that's really not much good for anything else except our museum. We have no water, no sewerage in it anyway, and its footprint is basically what the size of the building is. you can walk around it, but you're on other people's land to get there. We sprung a leak in that building recently. Oh, and by the way, the building is 102 years old this year. And it was built as a library and has never been used as anything else as a library until we took it over and made a museum out of it. And it's not much good for anything else, but however, the building needs maintenance and we're having problems. Our membership is way down. We don't have too many viable people to be volunteers anymore, even though we were all volunteers for many, many years there. Robert Dawes said that he possibly could patch the roof to stop the major leak that we've got. Now but we do need some help. And other than that, it's kind of like, I don't know what to do. I'm getting kind of long in the tooth as our other members are. And I want to leave that building and our contents as something for the future. We spent too many hard hours collecting that stuff and taking care of it that I don't want to see it to have to go over to the State Historical Society and just be stored in boxes down in their basement. As I know that's what would happen to it, because having worked in and out of their basements years ago for the Archaeological Research Services, I know what kind of stuff is down there. I mean, it gets cared for, but not too many people can get to it. And at least when we have it in our building, a lot of people in town don't even know it exists. We have lots of wonderful information about Milton. Milton has not always looked like this. Since they put the Spalding Turnpike in and ran this particular road out here in the 50s. And they took houses down and so on. And then we've had businesses come in that have removed even more houses and built other stuff. And I'm not going to mention names or anything. People have lived around here and know all about it. But other than that, that was basically my story. I did bring for you people, members of the board, our membership applications. I'll leave some here if anybody else is interested. You don't have to be a member to join. We're not exclusive. And also I put with the membership things our board
bylaws.
Bylaws, thank you. And that's about all I have to say. I don't know if you have any questions or anything. We're only open basically April through December. We gave up for meetings. We gave up the months of January, February, and March for obvious reasons. And it's hard to get in and out of our building. It has stairs like out front here, and that's basically it. You don't have a lift there, but you do here. And I don't know whether anybody has any other questions. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. About it, but I would like to get our plight out to the general public, and I thought this might be the best way to let people in town know about us.
We appreciate you coming in, Bonnie, and sharing this information with us, and we will...
Not this time. Yeah, we could always use money, but I know the town doesn't have any. You're going to ask for some money.
It's not much, but here's for a lifetime membership, so I'll fill out the form and get the information to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I'll give you this and then I'll send this for
Well,
copy.
okay. Thank you very much. And this was very unexpected, but thank you. We haven't had any meetings really since, I guess, last June. And I can't have any programs because when you have 4 or 5 people there, you don't want to hire somebody to come in that would have a great story or a program to give you. So we just don't do it, but we hope to be able to start the meetings again. We basically, according to the bylaws, we're supposed to meet the second Tuesday of the month, April through December. And hopefully we can start that again. But right now, we're short of officers and everything else. We're just short of people. But
All right, thank you. Hopefully, members of the public are listening to this and hear this, and anybody that's interested, please reach out, because the Town of Milton Historical Society needs help. We'll have the applications here at Town Hall, along with the bylaws for anybody that wants to come take a look. We should also put these on the website. Can we put these on the website?
Scan them. Yeah.
Sure. Does the board agree with that?
Yeah.
You agree?
The more we can promote, the better.
Yep. All right. And then Loretta did want to say something, and I cut her off there.
Secretary for the Historical Society. All I wanted to say is that roof is terrible. As I pointed out to you the day that you were up there, it was John Catwick. Something needs to be done for that, and we do not have money. Just a handful of us right now. We did paint it a number of years ago. We raised money ourselves, so I don't know if we need to get on the ballot, you know, for the town meeting in the spring or what, you know, to get some help.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
I think we can talk about that at a later date.
There's a couple options.
Well, we can talk about that at a later date, I think. And I think we have some options or some things we can look into, but.
Okay, and that lovely tin ceiling inside is getting ruined as a result of that water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks again. All right, next on the agenda we have Conservation Committee, Casey Road Committee discussion. Karen.
Yes, hi. I think someone put this on for the merge application where I believe the planning board met and they felt because the two properties were owned by the town, they felt it was better to have the selectmen sign off of it, but this is the final step in merging those two pieces of land into one, and we're going to be, you know, pursuing the easement on the entire, you know, parcel.
Just
so
for clarification.
Bruce had hopefully submitted the application.
Yep. So this is just so instead of having two separate pieces of property, it's all going to be under one easement instead of having two separate easements.
So the first step was we merged the 5 lots. That was
Yep.
the first process. Now this process is actually taking that entire lot and merging it with like the 73.4 acres. So.
Yep.
So what do we need to do to make it legal?
So we basically just need to make a motion to approve it. Now, I heard that this is being checked with legal counsel. Has that been confirmed?
Haven't got it back from them, but they do have it.
Okay. So, do we want to make a motion pending that legal counsel blesses this document off? Because that's what I think Bruce and Dana wanted to make sure legal reviews this. Because there's a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah, they have got a copy of it, they just haven't. My only concern is that they've sent it back to someone other than me, but I haven't heard from Dana. Do you know if they've sent it to
I
someone?
can't hear you. What?
Did they send it to someone else? Do you know? Have you heard that legal blessed it?
No.
Okay.
I really wasn't involved in the planning board discussion. I just heard word that, you know, Bruce felt it was better to have the selectmen sign off on the application.
I know Walter's coming Thursday, and he said...
Can't hear you.
Walter's coming Thursday, and he said, I'll have something for you on Thursday night. My guess is this is what it is, but I do not know for sure.
So can we make a motion that pending legal counsel blessing of this
It'll be in your box.
voluntary merger that we can go ahead and sign it?
Second that.
All right, so I'll make a motion that pending legal counsel's blessing of the notice of voluntary merger, the Board of Selectmen approves the merger.
So,
And we'll just put it in the box to sign?
yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So Andy second, all in favor?
Aye.
He asked if I could meet with him right before his meeting, so I said sure. So I think that's what he's bringing me.
Okay. All right, thank you, Karen. All right, next on the agenda, Milton Public Safety Association donation to Milton Fire.
Nick asked me to bring this to you. The fire chief asked me to ask you to accept this. Just to accept this donation of $800 from the pancake breakfast.
And was used to purchase
Ice rescue
ice
suits.
rescue. Yep.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
With thanks.
Very much.
Yes. All right, next on the agenda, Milton Fire Warden update.
Just do it again to urge you to. The fire chief asked me to ask you to go through this and to sign off on this. There's one name on here that he just asked to look over and make sure he still wanted to be on there. And it's up to that individual. And if so, if you could just sign off on it, Ryan, and the other two selectmen. And it's in pink. Made sure I knew you signed off on the pink one, hot pink.
All right.
Now, do I sign off on that if I'm on it?
Does he need to?
The two of you sign off. I don't think there's a
Yeah.
reason why you couldn't sign off on it.
All right, so I'll make a motion to accept this.
Second it?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Y-A-N.
Okay, well,
Thank you. Can I trust you to get this to the fire chief?
All right, next on the agenda, discussion Conservation Committee letter to Liberty Circle landowners. Karen?
the author of the letter is not here, is that correct? Or did you?
Well, I'm the representative.
Okay.
Yes.
I just had some questions.
Yeah.
On the, I guess the language in the letter. Do you have a copy of it?
I do. Yeah.
Which obviously I'm a lay person reading this, so if I was to receive this letter, it seemed kind of harsh.
Okay.
In the verbiage about if you don't sign off on this, then you could be faced with the back fees. And let me find the exact. I thought I'd highlighted it in here.
Yeah, where would that be? Because we tried to, because I mean, this is a win-win for.
And I
owners
understand
and the
that.
town,
It was
so-
just the verbiage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, appreciate the input. You tell me.
I'm looking to see. I thought I'd highlighted it. You have to be a lawyer to...
Trust me, this is a very complex. So.
If you would convey it. I guess, and it might have gotten cut off, but it's in the paragraph where it says the 11.24 acre parcel due to the existing conservation easement, the conservation status and public access to the parcel would remain unchanged. And then it goes on to say, and like I said, I think it might have gotten cut out, which is why I'm not seeing the highlighted portion.
Yeah, because we really spent
Obligated,
a lot of time on this.
Well, the obligated by law to monitor. What it was alluding to is like basically if you if you don't let us have this property so that we can monitor this easement, then we being the Conservation Commission can come back on you to get that money from you. So I just felt...
Yeah, and if that's how it was interpreted, that's not how it was meant to be.
Right, and this is my first time dealing with it, so
Yep.
I just wanted to ask the question.
We've been going back and forth with this.
Okay.
We wanted to, no one has been charged for monitoring.
Right.
In the past. We have no intentions of going back at all.
Okay.
This is more of a forward-looking.
Okay.
That, you know, you may need to contribute to that.
Okay.
Because the town has been paying for that property to be monitored on an
Okay.
annual basis. So, you know, it's a go forward that, you know, that's something that you potentially might be responsible for a portion of that cost.
And how are the abutters? Do you know? Can I ask that question? How are the abutters about?
There aren't really any abutters. I mean, I have a map if it would make it easier.
Yeah, if you don't mind,
Do you want me to show you?
Do you mind?
No.
Do you mind?
No.
No.
So.
I know this has been going on
This
for
is
quite a while.
5-acre, 5-lot subdivision as well. So where we're talking about is, this is Liberty Circle. This was the proposed 5-lot,
Okay.
which we merged. So now we're requesting it be merged with here. When the original builder, he had planned to do this subdivision, okay? He did donate all of this town and put it in a conservation easement. Well, he didn't donate it, but he put it in
Right.
conservation easement. His plan was, after this was built and sold or whatever, that a homeowner association would be developed.
Oh, okay.
Who would then take over, this is the land we're talking about,
Okay.
would take over and be responsible for maintaining the easement, the tax, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because he never,
Completed.
he did not pay taxes, so we took this over for tax deed.
Okay.
We also took this over for tax deed. What we should have at that time probably also taken over the ownership from these folks.
Okay.
Because right now it's kind of convoluted in that the town owns these, but these folks also have
Right.
partial ownership.
Right.
So
Okay.
we're just trying to make it as
Okay.
clean as possible.
Right. Like I said, it just sounded kind of
Yeah, I mean, we can
harsh, so I
certainly
just
work on the
wanted,
language and,
I just wanted to make sure that,
yeah.
I think they're just trying to say that if you don't do this, you're potentially going to be responsible
Right.
to do it. We're trying to, it's really, they're trying to help.
it's in your best interest.
Right.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. It was
So-
just, like I said, I was wondering.
No, so, I mean, we can work on that paragraph. Other than that, I mean, are you okay with us sending that out? I mean, we've talked with the attorney. We've been talking with the attorney, and he suggested that we send a letter, and that if anyone agreeable, that, you know, he would take care of redoing the deeds,
Okay.
so.
I'm
Obviously,
o-
he's
I'm
okay with the
it.
language in the letter, so,
Did he
okay.
comment back to you on the language in the letter?
I'm not sure it was sent to him.
Let me send it to him.
Okay. I think we just sent it to you, the board, and Kathy.
Do you mind if I send it to him?
Absolutely
Is
not.
the board okay with me sending it to Walter?
Yep.
Absolutely
Okay,
not.
let me send
Okay.
it to
Alright.
Walter.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. All set? We good? Okay, next we have discussion regarding Justin Avery's EDC request. Aaron?
Oh, that's Do I just go back on how far this has gone back?
13?
Yes. I'm resubmitting for the third time to have 2 areas in town designated as ERZ zones. It's economic revitalization zones. So I'm asking the board to send the application up to the state. Like I said, this is the
I'd like to get it done this time. I'd like to get signatures on it so that we can send the application to the state and have 75 at exit 17 declared an economic revitalization zone. It would give tax breaks to businesses wanting to come in. Also, to designate the industrial area up on 125, where Eastern Boats and Stratford County Head Start and that are, to designate that area as well. And it just allows for tax credits through 2020, I believe. So if I can get the board's approval.
Now, do we want to possibly run this by the town planner to see if there's any other areas that we should consider?
It has been run by him.
Okay.
He's actually a member on the EDC.
Okay.
And it has Bruce's blessing as well.
Okay.
So
I'll make a motion, we sign it.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
I'll have to. Justin has it.
Okay, so Justin has it put in the box.
So I'll send it.
All right. Okay, next on the agenda, police boat questions. Chip. Thank you.
Got some pictures that you may want to look at.
Want those back or these out?
As Andy probably knows, I think he's probably the only one in this room knows, that the original police boat was put on by myself and Chief Forrest at the time, who was a PD chief at that time. We'd asked the selectmen, which was a different board than you guys, of course, and they gave me permission to go around the entire lake and ask for contributions for maintenance and gas, etc. for that boat. Bobby at Eastern Marina was gentleman enough to go ahead and offer a boat, and one of the town residents was offered the motor to go on that boat, and Ray's Marina at the time, Ray himself authorized his people to spend money and fix the engine up, and that boat ran on there for probably 10 years. And that was at the problem we had earlier where we had a death on the lake. People partying at Mighty Joe, one run over the other one on a jet ski and killed him. Now, this just happened to me 2 weeks ago. The person that was in his boat driving was impaired, certainly. I was probably 15 seconds away from being hospitalized or death, one of the two. Now, we have a new boat that Bobby, I think, gave the town again. It's been sitting there not being used for several years. As the economy's got better, more people want to get on that boat, on that lake out there. You can see that from the Facebook, where everybody's upset that the town beach is not open for them to launch. Along with that comes people that bring beer in and whiskey in their boats and run around on that lake all day. All of the residents of that lake, myself included, pay a lot of money to live on that lake and be able to use it. Myself is $15,000 a year. Now, when you have these cowboys out here that are just impaired to the hill, you're going to have another death. You're going to have a lot more boat traffic because of the economy. We have a boat. At the time when we did the initial boat, we did a COPS grant. We had 5 years COPS grant out of it that took care of all the costs. That boat was no cost to the town as long as that boat ran. I've asked a couple questions there. Is the police boat going to be out there this summer? All you have to do is show presence. It's like everybody in here when you speed. If you see a cruiser, you slow down. If you see that Milton police boat out there, holidays, Saturdays, and Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, you're going to go to another lake if that's what you're going to do. You're going to get drunk and party. And that's where I want those people, at another lake. I don't want them on our ponds for the people of Milton and our people that we invite up to our homes. Now, had I had somebody swimming in that area, this guy came completely out like a James Bond movie and smacked down between my pier, through my pier, and my neighbor's pier. If the boat hadn't died, he would have continued and taken out the neighbor's pier. It probably went right up on shore instead of knee-deep water where he landed. The other questions I have here, we have policy at the town beach that you can't go up there, break out a keg and get drunk. Is that correct? That's correct. So you can't bring a cooler of beer in there, sit down on the beach with your feet in the sand and the water, and sit there and get hammered all day. Why would you let people come in with a cooler full of it in a boat, let them launch, and let them get drunk and go out there and raise bloody hell on that lake? And we put some checks when you bring a person in with a boat and you're going to launch them. We check for the invasive species on that lake right now to make sure that that lake doesn't get contaminated with some other weed or something. Why can't we just say, if you got Budweiser in there, get it out of there? I'm not a fan of Budweiser, so it's okay with me. Also, train your people that work up there that if they have a person coming back that's impaired, to go ahead and call the local police or the Marine Patrol. I'm certainly going to be calling a lot more of both of them. Hopefully you guys will find it in your heart and your finances to go ahead and put that boat back on the lake and get it out there and get it seen again and stop this crap. I'd like your comments, every one of you, see how you feel about it. But, I mean, that lake is what pays the bills in this town. And you can pretend it's something else, but it ain't. And I don't get to use my lake when I want to bring people up there.
Well, first off, I think it's our lake, but secondly, if the board agrees, I'd like to ask the police chief to speak.
I agree.
I notified the police chief that I would be here tonight.
He's here. It's not that our boat hasn't been on the lake. The boat hasn't been on the lake as much as it was from 2004 to 2012. We don't have the same employee who used to be able to work for us and drive the boat during those years. He was someone who had summers off and was able to work almost 40 hours a week for us and cover a ton of shifts for us. Currently, we have 2 part-time officers who work full-time jobs and cover shifts when they can cover shifts for us to put the boat in the water and to patrol as much as we can. The lake we do not have primary authority on the lake. That is Marine Patrol. The fact that we do have a boat and the ability to patrol the lake is a benefit to us and benefit to our lake, but we don't have primary authority of the lake. To put an ordinance in place that we search everybody's coolers that is just launching their boat, that wouldn't be legal for us. By state law, it's technically not illegal for anyone other than the driver to have an open container on their boat. The driver is the only person who can't be consuming alcohol. The other people's on the boat can. In Milton, our ordinance, the way our open container ordinance is written, we can technically write a citation for open container on the lake because it's the way our ordinance is written, it's any public area, and the lake is considered a public area within the town of Milton. So technically we could write an open container violation, which is a town ordinance $100 violation. Again, my plan is for the boat to be on the water as much as humanly possible, that those 2 officers can cover shifts. The plan is also to have the boat docked at the town beach and not have it have to be trailered back and forth from the police department to the beach and in and out, in and out, in and out all season long, which is another thing that when we do have emergencies, the officer who's on duty, if it is a singular officer covering on duty, has to respond back to the station, try to get the boat, try to get it launched and respond to the emergency. This will hopefully allow us to leave the boat in the water and allow both police and fire to respond to whatever they need to by just responding to the beach, getting in the boat, and going to whatever call is out there.
Now, the incident that happened in my house, the 2 people were taken away, one by Middleton Police and one by Farmington Police. And they were both arrested, and they had the evening in the county on all of us here. So you can, our local police can arrest on the lake. That just happened.
I'm not saying we can't, and I never said we couldn't. We have authority to make arrests on any law that happens within the town of Milton or Milton Mills. The only reason my officer didn't respond that evening is he was tied up making arrests on a domestic violence situation. Thankfully, we have mutual aid with other agencies. The other agencies responded over and took the situation and dealt with it as needed to be dealt with.
Board members have any comments?
How do you police the use of alcohol on the beach?
They're not allowed to, even if they're coming onto the beach, the ordinance for the beach, for usage of the beach, they have to show what's in their coolers.
So when they come through the front door, is that when you do it? Or when they go down and put out their blanket and open up their cooler?
If they go down and open up their blanket and we see somebody who's dumping alcohol containers into solo cups or things like that, and we get a phone call to it, the police officers go down and we deal with that situation.
Okay.
So they get removed.
Could we do a signage up there that say, and here's the phone number for the Milton Police, and here is the phone number for the Marine Patrol?
We can for people who are...
And to notify your employees that what an impaired person is, so that they can do that report and clean that lake up.
This is just my personal thoughts on this. Is I think the best police, so to say, for this is everybody that's using the lake, and everybody needs to look out for each other. And if you see something that you're concerned about, call the correct people to take care of it. Unfortunately, I mean, we're a small town and we only have so much funding. And as much as I think the whole board would agree on this, we don't want anybody to get hurt on the lake. It's not feasible to have an officer on there 24/7 looking at every single person that launches their boats. There's also other launches on the lake other than just here in Milton. So I think sounds like we're making a great effort to get the boat out there as much as we can.
When you talked about the financial thing, as I started with tonight, that boat originally was put on at no cost, absolutely no cost maintenance or gasoline of police officers for the town of Milton. Just because we thought that, you know, the landlocked people here would be upset, and we wanted to do that as part of the lake community to do that, and we did that. Okay, and again, I'm going to say, you know, we pay the bills in this town. You pretend it's something else all you want. It's not a view tax. It's you got water tax. I've been here almost 30 years now. I've been almost on every committee in this town. Built a lot of buildings in this town, and I can't enjoy my weekend because we got a bunch of drunks out there. I'm afraid to put my granddaughter out there because she'll get killed. It's a hell of a way to run it.
I'll add to this. I mean, I agree. I agree it's an issue. I mean, I know the chief tries to get the boat out as often, and granted, back when so-and-so was out there, you know, 40 hours a week, it was a deterrent, and you didn't have the 2,000 jet skis that we've got
They all
now.
went to Wakefield, okay?
Yeah.
And that's a great place for them. I don't want them on my pond,
that'd be
or
bad.
our pond. Okay, we'll correct that.
So, but I mean, and I think that if we can get it out there as much as we can, as far as the personnel at the beach to check coolers and who's putting it in the boat, that's kind of a gray area. That's, I mean, you can go over at Everett's Cove and dump your boat in, and with a cooler, and there's nothing really, or you can leave your camp. The same thing, you leave your camp over in Sewell Shores and Maine, and come over and go out onto Milton Three Ponds.
Or if you're hassled, you'll go to another lake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there again, and it's not just Milton Police, there's Marine Patrol that basically almost trumps Milton as far as enforcement on that is. I mean, I'd be all over, and even if the board will support is, reach out to Marine Patrol and say, look, we got an issue here.
I had 2 gentlemen at my house, and this is going forward as a case.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. As far as get the Marine Patrol, because they've got people that are in. Unfortunately, they put Milton, Sunrise Lake, and all the 10 lakes in Wakefield on his same schedule. So I mean, he's just going to dump the lake, dump it in at the town beach, and hit or miss whether he's going to be on Milton Three Ponds when something happens. I mean, granted, I'd love to see the Milton boat out there, especially weekends.
It gets crazy. You can't get on that lake.
Trust me, I picked a few off the bottom of the pond, so I know what you're talking about. So,
again, the Board of Selectmen 25 years ago thought it was a great idea, and we did it, and we accomplished it, and we stopped that lake from being a cowboy place.
Right. I mean,
we got a much better boat now, a much better engine now.
Right.
All we're missing is somebody to put on it and ride it around.
Well, the problem is back 20, 30 years ago, it was a heck of a lot easier getting part-time police officers to go out and patrol the boat. I mean, to be in the boat. I mean, that was perfect. It was a retired school teacher that had summers off.
He was still working at that time.
Huh?
Dave was still working at that time.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he didn't retire until sometime after that.
Yeah, but there again, I mean, it's visibility. I agree, the boat, but then again, it's he's got limited personnel as far as putting somebody. He's got 2 part-timers. Hopefully, we can get more hours on the boat. I'm all for it. I hate to see the pond get destroyed, and it is Milton. I mean, without the pond, Milton's pretty much nothing. So I agree 100%. It's just his hands are kind of tied. Our hands are kind of tied. It's like, I think it's more getting the message out there and getting Marine Patrol to come over. Maybe if they get a bunch of phone calls, I'm sure we can do some signage at the beach.
Just train your employees, if a person comes in for lunch and they're impaired, to give the police a call.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
And then go over and take them down to the county.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And they'll clean that thing up in several months.
That's something they've got to be trained by the police, because I don't really want to.
I don't think they have to be trained by the police.
Well, as far as getting into
somebody staggering around.
Well, there again, it's after they're gone. I don't want it to be confrontational as far as.
All right, Aaron has something she wants to add.
Chief, on that note, can you maybe have a conversation with the gatekeepers, for lack of a better word, at the beach, to look for impaired?
So the gatekeepers and the town beach employees, maintenance employees, will call and report to us when they have impaired people at the beach or impaired people that they think are about to go out boating.
I understand
what many years in the past, they've done it for us. We respond down, we make contact with the people. If they are impaired, we deal with them. Thankfully, we've been able to catch most of them before they do get into a boat. And we can deal with that person prior to them ever making it off the shore.
I think on that, I mean, that's, if we can ask of you to take that task and talk to those folks and that, I mean, as far as we can't go checking or emptying people's coolers, again, that's going to go against their rights too. I understand where you're coming from. I have grandkids. I wouldn't want them out there.
If I go up to Meadowbrook to a concert, they're going to go through everything I bring. So.
But I mean, if they can, if the chief talks to those folks out there, the signs do need to be addressed out there. I noticed it the other day. They are getting a little faded and all, so maybe we can fix the signage that says no alcohol allowed, brighten it up.
They put the police's phone number right under it. Everybody's got a cell phone, you know.
So, well, 911, it kind of pings you anyway, pretty much know where you're at, so.
The no alcohol ordinance at the town beach is for the beach only.
Right.
It's not actually.
No,
for
but
the boats.
if they just, like I said, the sign's kind of faded, if we,
And if we end up with double the amount of people camping up in Mighty Joe, that lake is, you're gonna lose that lake. You're just gonna absolutely lose it for boat recreation.
Right.
So I'm done, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chip.
All right. Next on the agenda, approval of minutes.
I didn't see anything that jumped out at me.
make a motion.
I just have one question on that before we make the motion. On page 3, under Recreation Commission concerns, see Appendix B. So is that, are we gonna have appendix in here with the stuff that's attached?
I see what you're saying.
I just don't.
Where is appendix B?
Is that just a, maybe a carry over, copy over by mistake?
No, what it was the letter in last week's, or in last
I wasn't.
Or am I reading
meeting.
into it way too much?
No, if I can speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wasn't going to put the letter into your draft minutes. I was going to wait and post it with the approved. But this is the letter.
Okay.
Both from this particular agenda topic as well as Mr. Libby's agenda topic, because that's shown as an appendix as well.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
posted on the wall as this with the appendix. Just saving 2 pieces of paper.
Yeah, no, okay, that's fine. That's good. Thank you. I'm good.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next up, expenditure report.
Page 2. 41, 625. About a third of the way down. On the right, it's got a negative number.
Postage. Postages. We keep fighting with that stupid
Still, since last year.
since last year. I don't know why we're still like, why is, treasurer postage meter. 76, something is getting posted now.
Can we check into that?
Yeah.
Because you know I'm
It's
going to
the
have questions.
It's the treasurer's line, I don't know why. I don't think we need postage anything. I'm wondering if that's the, no, that's not the bond. Okay.
Page 3. 4194, 620. Government building supplies.
Page what?
Page 3. Almost about 2/3 the way down.
Okay, supplies. Yep.
It's almost 90% spent.
Yep.
Page 4. 4210, 320. PD legal services, 93%.
PD legal services?
Correct.
That's for our attorney.
So that's on target.
That's on target. It's a $13,000 yearly cost for the attorney and then $1,000 for supplies.
Okay. I'm just going to get these questions.
Yeah.
So might as well. Fire department building maintenance, page 5, about halfway down, 4220, 720.
720. Oh, yeah.
I already know the answer on the next one.
I'll check.
These are the same number of issues we had last week, I think.
Yeah.
Last meeting.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
the numbers.
The number sign hashtag.
The number sign, usually
Some
of
of
the
them
times
are
a negative. Okay, so that's the one.
Okay, that's it.
All set? Andy,
I'm good.
Heather, good?
Yep.
Okay, next, administrator comments.
Couple things. Our lift outside our lift outside was inspected today. We passed, so that's good. Everybody wants to take a ride in that, go up and down. We're good there. I had a couple things. One is Kennebunk Fire and Rescue wrote a very nice letter to our fire chief. Says, good morning, good morning, Chief. I'd like to take a moment to thank you for assisting us with the recent wildland fire in Kennebunk. It is through cooperation like this that allows us to make a difference in our communities. If Kennebunk can be of assistance in the future, please do not hesitate in contacting us. Sincerely, Jeff Rowe, Chief Jeff Rowe. So it's always nice to know that our fire chief helps out other departments, so it's important to say that. Another piece that I wanted to point out is that our assistant chief, Devin Peugeot, announces participation in the grant program to prevent fire and CO-related injuries and deaths among high-risk residents. Milton Fire Rescue Chief Nick Murick is proud to announce that the town will be one of the New Hampshire communities benefiting from the FEMA Get Alarm New Hampshire Fire Prevention and Safety Grant, distributed through the New Hampshire Department of Safety Division of Fire Safety. This program provides free carbon monoxide and smoke alarms through owner-occupied homes where children and senior citizens reside. It is designed to provide safety net for those most vulnerable to the effects of fire and carbon monoxide. According to the National Fire Protection Association, the populations most at risk of fire fatalities in residential structures are children under the age of 6 and adults over the age of 59. About 1 in 4 of the New Hampshire residents fall in this category. Neighboring towns, including Rochester and Dover, are participating in Get Alarm New Hampshire as well. So I think this is important, and call Milton Fire Rescue at 652-4201, extension 302, and they'll get you scheduled to sign up for a free smoke and CO2 alarm installation and home safety check. So this is an important program, and I'm glad to say that our fire department is working hard for us. So these are some important things that are going on in town. So those are good things going on. That's what I had to share tonight.
All right.
Are you guys done?
I don't know what snapped.
Are you okay now?
Yes. Something snapped in the chair.
Wake you up?
Oh, just a friendly reminder that the town hall will be closed Monday because we're celebrating Memorial Day. So town hall will be closed on Monday, so please don't come by and expect us to be here. And the transfer station as well. So everybody, happy Memorial Day.
All right. Selectmen comments?
Just piggyback on the Historical Society. I would love to see more people get involved and keep that active. I mean, it's Milton's history, and I'd love to see it stay in Milton. I don't want to see it over in Concord in a basement, and I think it's, you know, I don't know. I support it 150%. So whatever we can do legally, we can see if we can come up with some way of helping. So with that said, too, the town pound, you had said talked about redoing the rocks in there for like $250 or $500. John Catwick, sorry to call you on this one, but it's okay. You said the back of it, some of the rocks have caved in.
Yeah, two sides where a tree hit it back years ago and took it down.
We could spend money out of the Lockhart fund for that, can't we? Can we look into that?
Well, the only hitch would be, if you're going to check into it, would be you all need to understand it's private property.
Yep.
Okay? But I'm open for any help we can get on it because it needs to be addressed. I mean,
how's the woodwork on the gate? Does that need to be replaced?
That's minor fix. I mean, I could do it myself in a half day.
Yeah. I just like to see that. Keep plugging away at the little things if it's...
I'd be more than glad to call the landowner.
Yeah, if you could do that, then we can...
I know she gave me approval a year ago, and I'm sure it still stands, but we'll just get an update.
Okay, because I know Lockhart Fund was towards the animals in town, so I'm sure we can justify putting animals in there, so...
Yes, thank you very much.
So, that's it.
I want to address the flower bed out underneath the Emma sign out here.
It's on my list of things to do.
Okay. All right, I appreciate it. Okay. I'd like to say on a happy note, the Milton Economic Development Committee is growing. We have some excellent participation from some excellent new people, and we have a Nancy, help me out here. We have a grant. Well, actually, it was supposed to be a grant, but it wound up being we're a guinea pig for a town, and we're going to be going around to the local businesses to find out, doing a survey, find out what we can do here to make them want to stay, how we can help them grow, etc., which is part of the revitalization areas out at 17 and up here on 125 in the industrial park all play into that. So that's good news. We actually have 2 alternates that we'll be appointing tomorrow night, if I get the appointment sheets. And also budget, everybody's favorite topic. We're on target. Everything's looking good there. And we're hoping the department heads that we're going to be able to move up the dates this year to kind of make things a little bit easier. The school board will be going first, and then y'all be going after, but we're moving up everybody's dates so that we can get the budget done and not be in crunch time come the holiday season. So that's all I have.
All right. Last week, the Rec Commission met for the first time this year, and with the new members. Spent quite a bit of time going over the bylaws. We made quite a few adjustments. Once those are finalized, I'll make sure it's shared with the board. I think it's going to be a good group of people, dedicated. A lot of new people, but they want to make sure they're doing the right thing and want to use a word that some people don't like, move forward. But I think it's going to be a good year for the Rec Commission. And that's all I have for selectmen comment. I do have one thing under other business, if we're good with selectmen comments. The town planner pulled a committee together to review the GIS proposals we got. He put them out to bid. We got 2 responses. The committee met, they reviewed them, they checked references, and the committee would like the blessing from the Board of Selectmen to go forward with starting negotiations with CAI Technologies. So I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen gives the town planner and the committee that is looking into the GIS system to go forward with negotiating with CAI Technologies.
I second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Could you just give a quick overview what GSI stands for and how we voted on at town meeting, just so refresh everybody's.
You want to do that, Heather?
It's GIS. Let's get the GIS.
Geographic information systems.
Yeah, it was good. We looked at the different programs. CAI, which I'm working on that. I need a louder mic, somebody. So can we put that on our wish list? CIA shall convert the town's existing AutoCAD tax map parcel and text into file geodatabases. Basically, text, if shown on existing maps, shall be reproduced into all text as follows: road names, water names, easement names, parcel maps, dimensions, adjacent town names, exempt parcels, part of text. Digital drafting standards, and the services to convert and reconfigure the existing tax map data, parcels, and text to an industry standard file geodatabases format. Basically, you're going to be able to go in and configure and figure out, if you're looking at a parcel on a piece of land, you're going to be able to manipulate it, and it'll be different layers. So you'll be able to figure out, for instance, if you want to look at land boundaries, that'll be helpful for you. You'll be able to figure out, for instance, Pat will be able to see where culverts are around town. The fire chief could look and see where the hydrants are in town. There's a bunch of data that we'll be able to use. We'll also be able to tell property boundaries are, who the neighbors are, and the different property neighbors are. It's very useful when you're looking at, if you're just looking at a piece of property you want to buy, you'll be able to pull up, for instance, the tax maps. I mean, most towns do have this data, and you can manipulate it and go in and play with it. And it's something that people use all over the state. Cartographics, or CAI, is something that is a well-known product from around the state. And that it's something you'll be able to go in from our website and play with. I believe at some point there will be other additional layers that will be added on to use. Hopefully does that help?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I interrupt for just a minute on this?
Sure,
Yeah,
board.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Now, let me understand. You guys have already picked out a GIS? Is that the deal?
There was a. Can I answer?
Yep.
Okay.
You've been on the committee, so.
Yeah. They did an RFP. We sent out an RFP. We had 2 responses come in, and so the board is authorizing Bruce to go into negotiation with CAI.
Because I understand there's other departments in this town that are also looking at GIS. And I made calls last week to neighboring towns in Rochester, piggybacks on the state's ACS system, which would be a cost less. So there's a lot of considerations, and it sounds like people aren't talking with each other.
Well, I know that other department heads were involved in this meeting. For instance, we had conservation involved in this, the police chief was there, fire chief was involved, other department heads were involved in this.
Cemetery?
Does the board want to allow John to speak?
Yeah, so.
What we're talking about is a GIS system, geographic mapping for the total town, like Heather just went over briefly. And mainly it was originated by the cemetery trustees. in the hoping that we could eliminate software costs for the cemetery business, but it will help the cemetery business also. But it's total plumbing, water systems, like they said, hydrant systems, anything, geographically, mapping, we'll have it. Most towns have it, like Heather said. And I believe it's up for review. I would hope that they would consider talking listen to Lynette, that they run it by all the other committees and make sure it's all going to fit within what we all want before they make a final decision.
And especially looking at cost effectiveness. If we can piggyback on a state like Rochester does, they have it at a local level for PCs, and then you piggyback on their GIS on the website.
Yeah, I was under the impression that Bruce had pulled a committee together of all the different users of it, and this is how we came to this conclusion.
Well, what we did was we had a representative come in and do a presentation to cemetery trustees. And of course, Bruce is a cemetery trustee. And we had all members of town that we could think of come to this presentation, like a code officer and everybody we thought would be interested in it. And it come out 100% favorable. But when it comes down to the actual company, we had one company, and I'm hoping that we go to several companies, not just select the first one without everybody agreeing. I think that's what the next concern is to us.
The chief.
Good.
So we did send out a request to multiple companies. We only got an answer back from 2 companies.
Okay.
So the request went out to companies. Only 2 sent us answers back that would work with us. Between those 2 companies that sent us the information back, Rochester uses CIA, and they use part of CIA is the GIS Axis, which is what the city of Rochester uses. The same exact company that we're trying to enter into an agreement with to build the town of Milton's GIS plan. The CIA GIS plan is, if it built similar to Rochester or built similar to Milton Borough, is usable on your cell phone. You can use it directly right on your cell phone, and you can use it just like you can on a desktop or on a laptop. It's very user-friendly, it's very simple. The other one that we were looking at is, if you bring up the town of Farmington's, that is the other company that we were looking at. That's the program they've created. It is user-friendly. It doesn't have the same it's not as user-friendly as CIA GIS is. But they did send out the request for multiple companies, and only 2 applied back to the town.
Yeah, there's a list of how many companies it went out to, and it was on different programs, but we got 2 back.
And this company, when we did 911, when we set that up, I was fire chief, we had to rename all the roads. It was Cartographic Associates then. That was, I mean, they were fantastic to deal with. They were.
And departments can do their plan of work by what comes out.
Right.
So that's what's the benefit of this.
And we've done due diligence as far as doing an RFP and reaching out. If only have 2 people that come back, and I mean, good thing we're not looking for trades, because you're not going to get anybody on those. But
all right.
And including the cemetery, we'll be able to use it once we get that. Is that correct?
We're not sure yet, and what we looked at the CAI also. That was the representative company. But we didn't get into detail enough to answer your question.
There's a gentleman in Rochester, his name is Dan, he's in the IT department. He said he'd be glad to come and talk with people and possibly give a demonstration.
All right.
Sorry.
But anyway, it's a great tool.
Okay. Do we have anything else under other business? I guess I'll bring up one last thing. Since the Historical Society is still sitting here, do we want to set up a workshop date right now?
If they'd like to, if they're prepared to set up a date.
Yeah.
Is now a good time, or would you prefer to get back to us?
You can set up a date anytime. Yeah, other than Sunday.
Do not do it this way.
Evenings are better because we all work.
Yeah.
So it's
whatever. it's easier for you guys.
So what would you be doing? Would you be coming up to help us with the paperwork or cleaning up the mess or?
I think we just want to come up and look.
Yeah. And, yeah.
Is it possible to maybe go up there and have a selectmen's meeting there?
No,
No?
it's not ADA plus no
Oh, that's right.
bathrooms and.
Right.
No bathrooms, nothing?
So do we want to do it on our off?
Well,
Monday.
I hope you get some off ones, because I don't.
Okay.
What are you thinking for a date?
Well, next 2 weeks are kind of busy for me,
Yeah,
but
same with, then I get into end of year, and I'm,
You're
the
busy
last
over
2
the
weeks
summer,
of
aren't you?
June, the last 2 weeks of June, I'm dead.
can we do it in the week of the 4th or the week of the 11th?
No.
No?
I was gonna have to change
So the
to
whole
July.
month of June, then you're off.
June is just, it's
Great.
year-end event, so it's
I
just,
was gonna have to change the July meeting too.
I don't want to put it off too far either, so.
How about
You
next
wanna
week?
do
Is there any
this
time?
week?
Next
Um,
week I'm swamped.
What about this week?
No. I've got, all right, I have
Well, tonight and.
yeah, I'll do it tonight. It's about really all I've got. I got school board tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. Thursday night I got the rehearing of Mighty Joe, so I'm gonna be here, so,
When's that, Wednesday night?
yeah.
How about Thursday night? I have absolutely nothing.
No, it's
No,
Thursday
Thursday
night.
night's
Oh,
Mighty Joe.
Thursday night's Mighty Joe. I thought you said
I got meetings
Wednesday.
tomorrow night and Wednesday
How about
night.
Wednesday night?
I have meetings tomorrow night and Wednesday night.
What about
How about
Saturday
Friday?
morning?
Memorial Day weekend, I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
kill
so.
you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're killing me here.
You're killing all of
The
us.
29th, Tuesday the 29th, right now, I don't have anything at night. That's about the only thing I've got.
May 29th or July?
May 29th.
May 20, what?
I have nothing May 29th.
Oh, come on, there's
You don't have a
something.
planning board meeting that night?
What's the 29th?
Pretty long like Pop Sandy.
No meeting?
Not reserved.
You want to try the 29th?
At what time?
We'll leave it up to you since you seem to be the
No, I'm
most.
fine, I'm good now. I just,
Do you want to do it earlier?
Your recorder's gonna kill you. What time would you?
I'm here.
Anything after 5.
Anything after
5.
5.
Or after, big time.
Okay, how about this? 5
Cool.
o'clock and I'll bring pizza.
There you go, I'll be there.
That didn't go out to the public.
Or is that at the Historical Society? building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does
They
that?
don't allow food inside.
Okay,
Yeah,
see, there you go.
yeah.
I'm saved.
We have a picnic
We, no,
outside.
we down on the front steps.
All right, so the 29th,
Down at the.
down at the Historical Society
Okay.
Okay, what
in Milton
time?
Mills at 5 o'clock. Does that work?
Sounds good.
And what would you like to do?
Oh,
Walk through.
She's working that really hard. What do you want to do? How about we do a walkthrough and let's see where
Yeah.
everything is and how it all stands.
Well, at
And,
this point, because of the leak,
right.
we're, yeah, but
It's raining.
you're
Do you
welcome
feel the rain?
That's
to come see
fine,
the
that's
mess.
Right. I think we.
You're signing it.
Yep. I think that'll work. Okay. So now that that's done,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Sign stuff.
Yep. All your appointment sheets.
Thank you.
Larry Brown, please, we've already adjourned, right?
Yeah.
We adjourned, but.
That,
John.